Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob at Super League Malibu. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas as fuels go longer. HOKA Let's Fly, deboer wetsuits, Smart Swim goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Quintana Roo, Premium Plus Sports, and, of course, our Challenge Athletes Foundation. Our next guest actually will be joining us in the Best Day at Tri. Our CAF 30th anniversary coming up on October 22nd. Mr. Ben Kanute, who is, four-time Alcatraz champion, two-time 70.3 silver medalist, Island House champion, you name it. He's done pretty much everything. How you doing, Benny?
I'm doing great, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. It's going to be awesome to have you in San Diego. You bringing the whole family?
Yes, that's the plan. So, we brought Briella there, I feel like 1 year, or wanted to with like the kids run and everything like that. But excited to get back, see everybody again. It's been a little while since we've been able to go, but can't miss out on the 30th.
It's going to be pretty fun. It'll be a great, great time. So Benny, this is a little bit back to your roots when we're talking Super League, because were you there for the first year of the Super League? Or
so
second
they had
year?
Their original race in late 2017, early 2018 out at that Australian island. I forget exactly where it was. And that was the brutal 3 days of racing, every single format.
Is that Hamilton Island?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Hamilton Island.
Yeah.
And wanted to be there. Would have loved to have been there because, raced Island House. And it was very similar to Island House. But didn't get the opportunity to do that, but made sure that when they were taking people for the next round that I would be able to be on the start list. And all of 2018, 2019, and maybe into 2020 at the very beginning of the year, something, raced it then. So started off with them doing, 2 days of racing with qualifying and finals, and then moved into similar formats to now. But I think it's one of the best ways to, gauge the resiliency of an athlete and just how you handle race situations in Super League because of how intense it is, and any mistake you make could just shatter your race.
So you had a race this summer at Challenge Roth. First opportunity to go to Challenge Roth, get third place there. Mm-hmm. How fun was that event?
Oh, it was amazing. And that was the peak of my year. Basically, I found, looking back, my month of August obviously is one to forget and one to learn from. Yeah, and it was just sickness on and off. I put a lot of energy into Roth because having my Kona slot, I wanted to go out and just see what are the best guys doing at Ironman distance and how do I compare. I raced Matt Hansen and Joe Skipper in Arizona for my first one, but that was a little bit more of a test of what can I do. And Roth is, okay, I have this build that I can do. How do I compare against, Magnus and Laidlow and Patrick Langa, all these guys, and got a pretty good barometer of what it takes going on to those guys' home course advantage and traveling quite a bit to get there. But it took a lot out of me. I think the travel back was insanely difficult, just with delays, staying overnight, just not very much sleep after, and got home and tried to jump back into family life a bit, get things sorted, give Courtney a break because she gave a lot to be able to help me be able to prepare for that race, and was a large part of the reason why I could race so well. And just we stayed in Phoenix, figured, let's just do this high intensity stuff in the heat, mixing back and forth between indoor early mornings. And I think it just drained me. And probably didn't get enough recovery, didn't get enough of the right training. And then August just felt flat and half sick for the entire month. And I tested positive for COVID like right when I got back, and that hit me the hardest it has hit me yet. But now coming off of it, went to my brother's wedding, got in a good little training block, and
feeling
excited to just see how I stack up. It's been a long year for everybody. So, that Roth kind of proved that when we focus in on a race, we can really execute it well. And that's kind of what I've taken from this year versus maybe other years.
Well, and if you look at August you had the U.S. Open, the Asian Open, and 70.3 Worlds, right?
Yeah.
You got all these huge events all within the same month, plus, just all the travel associated with going to Finland, going to Asia.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and our theory was doing all the base work for Roth would carry over, and then we'd do the intensity to get ourselves ready for that block, and the base just didn't carry how we wanted.
Right.
And for me, I have a hard time sometimes saying no to opportunities, and I do a lot. And for me, like I put a lot of energy into Roth, and I don't feel like I put the same energy into some of those races. Maybe Milwaukee a little more, but it was just a lot to focus on in a short period of time. And without having that kind of big build and focus, it left me kind of on the back foot going into some of those races. And Milwaukee was really disappointing because I felt like I was pretty fit.
You were pretty ready.
Yeah, and I felt like I was ready, and I just think some of the timing got thrown off. And it's always difficult to have results like that, and had a stretch last year where had, maybe similar, or maybe not similar, but had other issues that were holding me back. And it's just, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's sometimes an important one to learn and make sure that sort of stuff doesn't happen again.
I think sometimes you have to look at the positives of, hey, look what we did in Roth. Right, that was, and that is just one of those epic classic events, and we're talking Magnus, Patrick, and you.
Yeah, and that's who I am as an athlete. Like that race, even Ibiza, Oceanside. While Oceanside wasn't, maybe the outcome I wanted.
Right.
I had resiliency. I was racing. Same thing with Ibiza. I had some things that weren't going my way, but came back and was able to have a solid race. And when I was racing in Roth, you're running and you just have this tempo, this consistency. You're in it. You're in the moment.
Right.
And you're telling yourself, might feel easy now, but just stick to the game plan. Like you're plodding through it versus, Milwaukee, I felt that way for the swim and was saying to myself, I'm like, this swim is like a work of art right now. This couldn't have gone any better for us. Get out onto the bike, and within 10 minutes, I'm going to myself like, I'm empty. I didn't think I was going to finish the bike in Milwaukee, and I was just going to call it because I felt like something was wrong, and actually worked through it and got myself to a level where I'm like, okay, I could salvage something with a great run here, which I felt like I could do. And just came off, had a good mile, and then it all just went downhill again. And I have a hard time quitting, especially when my family's there in front of a home crowd. And
it's a bad habit to get into.
Yeah, and so
there's always a reason to pull the plug.
Yeah. So that month, it wasn't quite myself, but I know that that's there because since St. George, I just had a string of really solid, consistent races, and coming off of that month, felt kind of down, confused, wanted to fix it. Was feeling sick, but as I come out, for me now, it's Kona is a huge race next year. The opportunity to race there is becoming less and less. And, I just feel this pull to do something big and to really focus in and have all my eyes just set on this goal and to still race well and hit a lot of these other goals.
Sure.
You mentioned Alcatraz and stuff, and there's part of me that, wants to go and win everything, but to just have this year that's focused on this one big event, because what I took from Roth is that was my big event, and I still raced well in Ibiza and Oceanside, but I had this kind of grand plan in mind of everything is this stepping stone to get to here.
To Roth.
So that's where, it's really unique to have a championship season over before September.
Yeah.
And for the past 4 years, I've raced from March through December, and, would take my break during the holidays, have the month of January be a little bit of training, and then ramp up quick for February, March.
Right.
Now I can take my time and I can get super strong.
Yeah, you've already got your spot.
And
I've got spot. That's important.
Exactly. And I've got, quite a bit of motivation coming off. It's one thing when I ended the year last year on some good races and wanting to back it up, but it's another to end the season and, have basically some of the worst racing I've done in a while. And you're not going to find me that out of shape again at a race. You're not going to find me that unprepared. And that's what I'm taking into this off season.
When you look at this race and you said, back to your roots, fast, I still remember watching you outsprint Terenzo Bizzoni at Island House. I was like, I didn't know Ben had that leg speed. That was crazy. But this is that type of thing. You got surf,
Yeah.
which you like.
Yeah,
Having
yeah.
real surf. The water's a little chilly, 64. Some of those skinny
Yeah.
folks are going to be
Yeah.
having some issues with this.
Yeah.
This is this suits you.
I love Super League. I always have, and it's not. It's there's chaotic. Like there's nothing. Nobody's guaranteed a win here. Short course racing. I've raced a lot of different types of short course racing, but for me, Super League has always been super gritty and waiting and just keeping yourself in it the whole time. And there's a lot of resetting that has to happen, and it's a fun little experiment. Like at the very least, like I haven't raced against some of these short course guys on their turf in a number of years, and it's going to expose some weaknesses potentially in where I'm at and what I'm doing, and that's a good thing. And it's just, I think, a good opportunity to test myself and have this fun weekend of racing. And frankly, I think it gave myself the correct kick in the right direction to get back into training, because coming off of COVID, a bad month of racing, going to my brother's wedding, I probably could have dragged my feet a little bit and said, I have plenty of time. Like I'll just start in October. And really it showed me how much I can accomplish in just a few short weeks and how much fitness grows just every single day for me, and really what I respond well to. And it'll be a fun test to take what I've been doing and just apply it to a race situation where, when you add in surf and, the end of the year where a lot of people are run down, anything can happen at this race, and I'm ready for it.
Last year, you finished your season with the high, right? Getting second, getting silver. Your second time you got silver at 70.3 Worlds. When you finish your season with a high like that, it keeps you pumped up through the off season to get ready for the following year. And you had your big race that you were gearing up for was Roth in June 21st, whenever that was. Yeah. That makes it tough when you basically did exactly what you want. Obviously, you want to win, but you played it out perfectly. Yeah. But then there's still a long season to go. That makes it hard, because that's a big high, and then it's it's hard to build again after you've had that high.
Yeah, I think that the approach and the way that we needed to, I needed to be probably more picky with the races that I did in August. Probably the best opportunity I had for success was, looking at the race dynamics and everything, was probably Finland overall. But how can I turn down a race in Milwaukee an hour and a half away from where I grew up? And then with that, the extra week that I would have gotten, to train if I didn't go to Singapore, I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference. Maybe the travel would have made me approach it a little bit different, would have been fresher, not as worn out. But I think it was really important for me to go to Singapore to experience some heat and humidity, because that's what
plays into Kona as well.
Yeah, it plays into Kona. So for me, it's been a big learning year about, what are some things and weaknesses going into Kona that I need to work on. And that, I think, pulling out those positives and those learnings from, potentially trying to make it back in. But it's been interesting, because also, the 70.3 world champs are about 6 weeks after Kona next year.
And Taupo,
it was a good experience just to say, okay, Roth, about 6 or so weeks to Milwaukee. How did I handle everything? How was it? And there were just, I think, too many stressors on there with the heat, with recovery, with all of that to really, get back in the right space for Milwaukee.
Right.
But we were close. It's not like we were far off. We knew we were close, but we just, our theories didn't, we did the experiment and they were proven wrong. So now it's back, and we've shifted what we think we need to do and should be better for it.
Well, it seems like it's a jigsaw puzzle, right?
It's always
every
a puzzle,
year.
Yeah.
So you and Jimmy sit down at the end of the season and go race by race and say, okay, we do better when we can focus on one major goal.
Yeah, and that, I think, is Kona is a clear goal. I'm qualified. I know I'm going, and I can build my season based off of that.
Yes.
The PTO races, if I get the opportunity to race that, which I hope I will, those are also really good springboards to gauge fitness, see where I compare, and just kind of plan the season around, because a lot of opportunity there, a lot of cool things that they're doing. But right now it's a little bit hard to plan it without knowing what that schedule is.
Yes.
So I kind of like that culmination, and PTO is moving in the direction of having a series winner for world champion like the WTCS. And so that means consistency is more important than maybe
winning every race. Yeah,
winning every race. So I would like to be able to figure out that problem, because I think that I do peak very well for specific races, but then having that consistency is somewhat challenging. And I think that we could solve that by, having our off season and getting very strong and just raising the level of base fitness to the next step. And then, when I'm going in, it's maybe I'm not fully tapered, or maybe I'm training a bit through it or something, but that level of fitness is there where I'm competing with, the guys I usually would compete, and I'm not having this kind of up and down results.
So you're on the Warriors, which is an all-U.S. team. So these are folks who you normally are out trying to kick their butt.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's unique about this is, honestly, I'm not racing these guys very often. Aside from a handful of guys like Leo or Hayden, who kind of step up to the long course try, everybody's the short course guys they've got different goals than I do, and they're all shooting for the Olympics, doing, ITU stuff full
You've been
time.
there.
Yeah, I've been there. So it always, kind of hangs out there. It's like, maybe, what if I could go back?
Oh.
But there's, but the U.S. team too is, they've gone through maybe some tough moments, but they proved last time around too that when it counts, like, a lot of guys step up.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, it's just fun to kind of come down and test myself against people who I usually don't get the opportunity to.
Yeah, and you've always liked the variety. You've
Yeah,
always liked
exactly.
Alcatraz and obviously 70.3 and World Triathlon. You've done it all.
Yeah,
every aspect of it. And it's a good era to be a professional triathlete because you have lots of options.
It is, yeah. There's a lot of, but also, I mean,
too many options.
Yeah, and that's what I think a lot of times has been hard for me is I want to do it all. I want the opportunity, and I feel like I can do it all.
Yep.
But I've learned too, like, this year was really focusing in, not doing very many races. But of course, having 3 races in August, you're doing a lot of races in a short period of time. I only raced 6 times so far this year, whereas a lot of times I might have raced,
9
8
or 10.
or 9. Or, so that's where, like, honing in on what is the goal and having that one main goal of saying, hey, I've done very well at Ironman distance. Let's put it, like, my hat in the ring. Let's go all in on Kona and see what happens. And not that, 70.3 worlds is less important or the PTO is less important. It's just that one goal, having watched it when I was a kid, seen people do it, and honestly not had a U.S. guy win it since Tim DeBoom in 2001.
Yep.
It's pretty motivating for me. Plus, watching Sam Laidlow win in Nice, do it on home soil, I thought, man, that's a pretty cool experience for him. I've been in a similar position and come up just short a couple of times, where I'm the U.S. guy on U.S. soil at the 70.3 and St. George. And then, also it's Hawaii's home soil. It's U.S. soil. And that is something that's super special. And, we don't know how many opportunities we'll actually get on the Big Island anymore. So I want to take all the opportunities I can get and just put myself into that, because, we're not far enough removed yet where that pull to it, that kind of, history and where legends were made. We haven't gotten far enough away. For 70.3 worlds, we're used to it switching around.
Right.
But for Kona, Nice was an amazing race. It had a lot of great opportunities, but
it's not Kona.
It's just everybody. You listen to Christian talk about it too, and he's like, well, I might have won St. George, but I didn't win Kona.
Right.
And that's just, it could change over time. And honestly, if they do continue to move away from it, it'll just be, there was an era where it was in one spot.
Now it's moving somewhere else.
But there's still, the industry too. Everybody gets excited about the Big Island. So,
no question.
I've been waiting for the opportunity.
I look forward to watching you race on Saturday, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Ben Kanute has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob, Super League Malibu. Hold on. We will be right back.